Hello sewing friends, in this video talking about cutting out the pattern, because this pattern, if you're going to make view B, which is the longer dress, you're going to need wider fabric. You can make this with a 45-inch, but it's just a different layout. So if you're going to use 40 inches of fabric, or even 60 inches of fabric for the short dress, you'll be fine either way. But if you're going to make B, you're either going to need a lot more of the 45-inch, but I have 4 yards, but it's also 60 inches wide, so I should be okay with making the long dress. Now, one thing that I've not encountered in most other patterns, maybe it's because I just didn't have 60-inch fabric, is that I'm going to be following this layout right here. So there's this layout or this layout. This one is most likely if you have directional fabric, so you need to make sure that you have enough fabric, because all the pieces have to lay facing the same direction. So for example, if you had flowers, or if there was something directioning, meaning like the flowers, so you don't want some panels where the flowers are going up and then other panels the flowers are going down. So if you have directional fabric, then you'll have to lay it out so that all the flowers or whatever the design is all going into the same direction. So the shoulders is at the shoulders, the hem is with the hem on all pieces. But if you don't have directional fabric, like I don't have directional fabric, then you're able to lay them, you can switch them from whatever the shoulder to the hem. I hope that makes sense. So I have non-directional fabric, so I am going to be following this layout right here. And with this layout here, it's having the selvage on, there's SL meaning selvage. Selvage is on the top. So this is the layout as I'm on the table. There's open end here, there's selvage here, and there's selvage here at the top. And then CP, which would be center crosswide fold, or the fold, is to the left. So what this picture is telling me is that the fabric, so the selvages are open, so it's not a fold on one side and the selvage on the opposite side. It's selvage on both ends, meaning that the fabric is fold lengthwise, like this. So I'll move my pattern. So normally you would fold your fabric in half, you would bring the selvages together, you'd have your fold. But on this here, we're going to open this up so that the selvages are open on both sides. And let me figure out how I'm going to lay this on my table. I don't know if I have enough room to go. Yeah, I can't. I have to lay it this way. So I'm not going to have enough room to lay everything out because my table is not wide enough. So what I'm going to do is, I've already got my straight edge. Make sure that I have an even edge. So I'm going to lay this out, and I am going to determine how much, where I need to put the fold. So here's the hem is going to be down here, and then the shoulder, I'm off screen, but I'm marking. Let me pull this down so you can see it. So right here, I'm going to say this line of dots is going to be, from here down is how much I need for my dress. And so if you're using the full pattern, let me go ahead and measure that for you. That's 53 inches. $51. I'm going with 53. Gives me enough room for buffer. So I'm going to take this. So 53 inches is going to be my guide. Ugh, stop it. I'm dropping pins. So I'm going to measure 53 inches on this selvage. Just want to make sure it's straight. Three. I'm going to put a pin in there, and I'm going to mark it with chalk on the other side, just to be sure. So now going to mention 53 in this area. I'm going to slide it down. Measure 53 again. And I'm going to go over to the other selvage end here. Measure out 53 inches one more time. Edge here. $38. $53. I'm going to go a little bit above 53. I'm going to rip. Okay, so now I got two pieces. Now I got two pieces. I'm going to bring my cutting board mats together. All right. Hopefully this will be just a lot of fabric. So this is going to be face up. And then the top piece will be face down. I'm going to measure from my edge. So I'm at 3. Now look at that. 8. So I got a little bit more. So 3 inches to 8 line. And we're in this. I'm doing 3 and 8. So I'm going all the way down here. 3. 3 and 8. So 3. 3 and 8. I'm going to go a little bit more. 3 and 8. 3. Right, wrong 8. 3 and 8. 3. So here my fabric is not straight. I'm kind of, I'm not getting 3, 8. There we go. Okay, oh my gosh, small discrepancy, but I can get my marker. Okay. All right, so starting with piece 3, I have some chalk here. So starting at the top, I'm going to go ahead, got a pin. I'm going to go through the size for this triangle here, and at the point right in the middle of the triangle, I'm going to run my pin through there. Then on the opposite side, I can mark the chalk line. Ain't no tiny. Okay. Then I'm coming over right here. I have a single notch. And I'm going all the way down, no marks, all the way up to the other side over here. On the center back, I have a triple notch. All the way up. And nothing else. So now I can take my pins out. Oh, almost, I didn't see this one. Forgot. Here is the circle. So this needs to be marked. Actually, I'm going to get some. Let me use blue. There we go. You'll be able to see what I'm doing. Okay. All right. There to go. Take, this is 3, I'm going to put it to piece 1. All right. Starting at the top here, we have triangles, mark the middle, and then I'm going to use blue. Then on this side, I'm marking on the wrong side of the fabric. So now I'm going down. I have a notch. I'm going to put a little notch here, and then I have a little notch on this other side. Come down here, I have a square. I mark the middle, and I'm going to put my little blue dot for the square. Then I have a large circle here. This is a very important spot. And I'm going down, looking around to the bottom, back up the side. All right, I think I already got this one. No, I did not get this one, so let me mark this one. Here we go. And I did this one already. So this is piece 1. I'm just going to write a 1 on it so I don't forget. At the shoulder, we have a notch. There is a double notch armhole. There's a double notch on the side. I'm going to get this single notch here. While I'm over here, let me put, and where's my chalk? So for here, I'm going to mark the inside. I don't know what this is for here. I'm going to mark both sides. It's supposed to be the pocket, but that's just so far, just like so far in there. Oh, you know what? I expanded to a larger side. No. Yes, mark the circles. I'm marking the wrong one because I blended 2 sides here. And I'm like, that circle is really far. Then I'm going to do this one here. Then I go all the way around, checking, and then there's a notch right here. All right. Starting at the top, shoulder notch, single notch inside the armhole, double notch on the side, We have our first circle right here. I'm going to put a pin in this other circle. So I'm going to do, take this off. So I'm going to flip this over. Circle, circle, notch, circle, circle. Take those out. I'm working all the way around, coming up, notch right here. Slide this down. There's two notches, one here, one here. Don't make them too deep, just very surface level. This notch, cut this notch. That's it. I'm going to use contrast for the pocket and for the dicky. I think I have enough black fabric. This is the selvage. This is the cross grain. This is the selvage. It's linty, but it'll be the inside pocket. Notch and notch. So this is going to be the lining. I don't know if I want this or the black for the dicky. So I'm just going to take this and pin it together, and this will be the last thing I do. So this is the glue side. For the facings, you need to have 4 pairs. For pieces 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, so I'm bringing over the pattern for the dicky so that you can see how these things get aligned right here. So when you look at the small circles on your facing pretty much match up with the small circles that are on the dicky, and then you have this top circle here with the squares that right here. So I'm not going to be putting snaps on the dicky. I'll show how, but I'm actually just going to hand stitch my dicky inside the shirt because I'm not going to change it up. So make sure you have all those notches for piece 6. On piece 7, you should have a triangle. So you mark your triangle right here, and then you mark, you have a notch up here for the shoulder. On piece 8, this is the front arm facing. You have a notch on the inside, and you have a notch at the shoulder. This is the underarm. And then for piece 9, you have double notch right here on the inside for the back armhole, and then you have a notch here at the top for the shoulder. And this is going to be the underarm. So these pieces go together here, and then for this part, these 2 pieces go together. And then you have the dicky that's going to be in the middle like that. So this comes around. This is the center back. So this is the back of your neck. This is the shoulder. So one thing that I'm going to do that's not in the instructions, well, there's 2 things in preparing our fabric. So I'm not serging these yet. I'm going to put that in the next video. But we're going to stay stitch the neckline, and then we are going to mark the hem at the bottom. When preparing the hem separately, I just find that it makes sewing or finishing up the hem so much faster in the end. So we're going to take the back piece, which is what is the back piece? This is piece number 3, and starting at the shoulder, and we're going to go right inside the seam line. So I'm just going to draw just a rough line right here. So say this is our seam allowance, our stitching line. You're going to put some stay stitching. We're just going to put stay stitching right in here because we don't want our neckline to get distorted. We're also going to take all the pieces, and I'm going to, what's the hem? Let me see what is their recommended hemming is a 5/8 of an inch narrow hem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a basting, I'm going to use my sewing machine, and I'm going to put a basting stitch that's just shy of 5/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to press that seam up. It'll make hemming so much faster when you get to the end. Let's go. First thing I am going to do that's not part of the instructions is to stay stitch the back neck seam. Gotta find it. I know it's here. Okay, here we go. Starting from the shoulder, long regular stitch. I'm gonna go right down and out. No need to lock the stitch. Starting at the shoulder. Now I'm using my longest stitch. So we'll just go ahead and just shy of 5/8. If it hits 5/8, it's okay. we're going to take the stitch will come out, or you can keep the stitch in. You just don't want it to be more than 5/8. You're going to do all the pieces. Again, if it hits 5/8, it's fine. Just don't sew anything together. We're just doing one layer at a time. That's where I'm going to have to disconnect all the pieces. So here we are. I'm just going to give that hem a quick press to set the stitch. You could leave it in or take it out at the end, but I'm going to go ahead and fold up on this hemline, and I'm going to bring it just a little bit in, because there was definitely, this is why I said to sew a little bit further from the actual stitching line, because I want to see that line on the back end. And I know I got kind of close to it. Sometimes I probably went over it, but it's okay. But I'm just going to make sure that it's just on the top, not on the outside, but just on the top, right there. And then doing this, I don't have to use my seam gauge. So I'm just turning this so that the stitching line is right on top. See that? Just turning it over. And the only other time that I will touch this hem, where I would probably have to press the hem again, is whenever I do the seams. So this way, when you turn it over, you already see that your hem is there. And if you want to, you don't have to, but I wait till the end, because what we're going to do is take this edge, we're going to fold it towards the crease that's there, and then fold that down, and that is going to be the finished hem. But I'm only pressing it the one time. So I'm just going to do that for each of the pieces here. All right, and there's the second piece. Look at that. So I'm going to do all my pieces, and that's going to be the end of this video. And I'll see you in the next video where we start putting our dress together. Loves! Also, in addition to stitching the hemline, you want to make sure that you have your zipper, your invisible zipper. And then you're going to want 2 1-inch strips of interfacing. So I'm using an interfacing different than what I used on the facings, because I want this to have a little bit more stability with this very soft, not soft, but I want to make this fabric just a little more stiff. And I'm going to use this medium weight interfacing to put my zipper in. So I'm going to make sure that I have those pieces set aside.